Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Laura Pence. Welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. It's so awesome to have you here as usual. And for you newbies out there, awesome. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button though, make sure that you're hitting that, okay? I want to make sure that you're part of this community, that you're following along, getting all of the information. It's awesome to have all of you here. So this month, the month of January, we are answering that question, who am I, right? So we talked a little bit on Tuesday about belief systems and identifying your core beliefs. If you haven't watched that episode, it could be helpful, but you don't have to. Now we're going to talk about where do your beliefs come from. It's important for you to understand where your beliefs come from because much like our value systems, sometimes we have these things that we adhere to and that we believe and that matter to us, but we actually never take time to reflect on where they come from. So it's important to just sort of pause for a minute and start to consider that. So usually when we're talking about our belief systems, they come generally from two places. So one is through experience, right? So we basically, through experience, gather enough information and data to create a belief. The other way in which we form beliefs are through people, right? Through somebody else who holds a belief system and maybe wants us to hold the same belief system, or because of their belief system, we begin to adhere to the same things that they believe. So those are the two primary places, right? So again, one is through experience and two is through another person. So let me actually just give you an example of what that looks like so you can kind of start to think about it in the context of your own beliefs. So let's say one of the core beliefs that you identified was about relationships. And let's say you identified that relationships are generally unsafe. Well, if you reflected on where this comes from and you identified that it comes from experience, then perhaps you've had experiences in which this is the case. So you may have grown up in an abusive home. You may have had an abusive partner or spouse, boyfriend or girlfriend. You may have even had an experience at work in which your boss is sort of verbally abusive, right? So when you have those experiences, it can absolutely impact and begin to seed and create a core belief system. So that's how it would be formed through experience. Let's say, however, that you have a belief system about, let's say you have a belief system about something that is related to religion. Let's say a belief in God. Well, that could have come from a person, right? Let's say that came from your parents, from being a very young child and being told by your parents, that God exists and it's important for you to believe in God and to pray, things of that nature. So that's when a belief system comes from an individual. So again, it's really important for you to know where your belief systems come from because that helps you answer the question, who am I? Because you kind of have a trail of breadcrumbs that actually lead up to your core belief that can actually help you understand this core belief even better. And here's one way that it can. So let's say you've identified a core belief, but it's something actually that you're not very comfortable with, but you know it's a core belief, and maybe you actually even want to change and move away from, but you're having a difficult time with it. Well, understanding where it came from can help you understand why it might be difficult to change. So let's say, for example, going back to that example I gave you about relationships being unsafe and you having experiences of abuse, well, if you understand that that core belief that relationships are unsafe comes from that experience, that might be an opportunity for you to kind of have compassion for yourself around then why it's so difficult to change. Because you basically have all of these data points in which that was true for you, right? So, or if it's with a person, let's say you're reconsidering really your faith and just sort of in a period of introspection around it, but you're having a difficult time with that and that leaves you rather unsettled. Well, maybe it's because you have such loyalty and allegiance to your parents, right? And that makes it difficult for you to maybe question those beliefs because it almost feels like you're questioning your parents. So again, knowing where your core beliefs come from can help you have an understanding of what might make it difficult for you to change them. So that's sort of the key question that I want you to just consider is where do my core beliefs come from? And remember again, those two places, experience or people. Okay, so we're now kind of wrapping up, right, the end of January and answering this question, who am I? In February, we're going to dive into what needs review and revision. Okay? So make sure you're tuning in, joining in. I'm going to see you here next week. Hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're interested in maybe deepening this knowledge a little bit, gaining more wisdom and kind of expanding your experience of going into this self-analysis, consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. It's very, very important for you to get the most out of this experience. And sometimes we need extra help. So supplemental materials you'll find, notes you'll find, you'll even get access to kind of asking questions about your own journey. Just consider it. Think about it. The link's going to be in the comments, okay? I will see you next week. We're going to kind of close out this question of who am I? I hope you're with me. I'll see you then.